And today we're going to cover both accessing and modifying your forms on your site, as well as the menu that is on your desktop and mobile site. So like we said, this is our first advanced training webinar. If you have any questions throughout this, please feel free to submit them through the question panel that is through GoToMeeting, and I can either get to them as we go or we can cover them at the end. So whichever works for you, please get them in as you have them. And if you have any additional ideas for a future training webinar, we love to make this content tailored towards our clients. So if you're looking for help on a particular topic in the future, please feel free to reach out to us. I know there's a survey that goes out at the end of this webinar, but you can also reach out to us at our support team. And speaking of that, you can get to it directly through Help Me Haley, which is helpme.haleymarketing.com. And while you're there, you can access our wealth of support documents, as well as contacting our support team. Once again, that is helpme.haleymarketing.com. And a copy of this webinar will be available on our Help Center, usually within a few business days after the end of this. So in case you do happen to miss something, don't worry, you can go online and watch this at your own speed. So if you want to see something done a little bit slower or follow along at that point, you can do that as well. So once again, thank you everyone for joining me today. And the first thing we're going to have you do here is go and log in directly to your WordPress site. So I'm actually already logged in here, so I'll go straight back to the dashboard. And of course, if you're having any questions on logging in, please reach out to our support team. But once you're here, the first thing we want to do is we're going to talk about the forms on your WordPress site. So in case you're not familiar with these or might not know what I'm talking about, this is in reference to such forms on your site as the Contact Us. So this is pretty standard across all of our sites. We have a Contact Us form, and some of you may have additional forms such as refer a friend or request an employee, request a rate quote. Depending on what your company needs, you can either set up new forms or you might already have them on your site. But today is a little bit more towards managing the forms that you already have on your site and making sure they are set up in a way that meets your needs for them. So the first one here, we have a Contact Us form on this site, so this will be our example moving forward today. So we're going to jump back to the dashboard here just to make sure you know where we are, and we're going to go over to the Forms section of the WordPress dashboard. Once we're here, we're going to be presented with a list of all forms that might be on the site. The ones with green next to it, so this last one over here, is our only live example on the site, and this is a great example of the different types of forms that you can get from Haley Marketing and you might have on your site already. So once we're into it, the first area we want to show you is how to modify it, because every company is a little bit different. So maybe you want to change the wording on it, maybe you want to remove a field, so you can easily do that by clicking the Edit This Form button, and that'll bring you straight to the form on your page. This will look pretty familiar for you. So real quick, just so you can see it, you have name and first name, last name, company, phone. But let's jump over to the front page of your site. You're going to see a very similar layout to what you have here. If you want to go ahead and change some of this content, when you hover over it, you'll see that it is brought to attention. You can click the down arrow to expand it, and you're given a bunch of options here. You can either require it or unrequire it. You can choose which sort of fields are included in it, or you can even change the name of it altogether. I know that one thing that a lot of people are looking for is making sure they get the email address. You can make sure that's required. If you don't want the phone number altogether, maybe it's not useful for you, you can just click the X and it will be removed. If you want to make sure that they're submitting comments so you know why they're reaching out to you, you can make that required by hitting the drop-down arrow and clicking required. Additionally, you have access to a bunch of different types of fields you can add to it. So a great option is that if you want to know ahead of time why they're reaching out to you, you could add a drop-down menu. You could add a radial buttons, which is just the buttons you can click to see what different options they have, or you can choose some of the other answers or choices here, such as paragraph text or multi-select. So for an example, if we want to add a drop-down menu, we would just drag it onto the bottom. And once it loads onto it, we'll be able to choose a different field. So let's put a nice title for it. And we're just going to leave the choices as they are right now, but you could add or remove them by clicking these plus and minus arrows. We can also make it required. So once we are all set with the changes that we like on this form, all we need to do is go ahead and click Update, and we're going to be able to see the form changed on the live site. So we're actually going to go back to that site. You'll notice at the bottom below Best Time to Respond, there is no drop-down, but here it is. We now have it here just like we had before. So now any new responses that we get through the form here will have that choice selected for you already. Once again, if you don't like that anymore, maybe you've wanted to try it out, but it doesn't work very well for you, you're not getting good responses, you can always unclick it, delete it with the X. It prompts you just to make sure that you're positive. It goes away, and we can update the form again just to show that this is complete and saved on your site. So it's a really great way to make sure that your forms are really meeting your needs as a company and that they're set up quite the way that you want. So once you're positive that a form is set up correctly, we're going to jump over to the settings to make sure that you're getting the right notifications, both for your user on it as well as the person in your company who is receiving them. So we're actually going to go over to the confirmations first. So you go to Settings, Confirmations, and you'll be brought to this window. You can click on the Edit so that it is brought to a brand new confirmation. Sorry, that you can edit the current existing confirmation that's on there. And this is the message that pops up after somebody applies to your form. So this will actually replace the form body itself, and you'll be given this information. Just to show you what that looks like real quick, let's go through the Contact Us form, and we'll do a test submittal real quick so you can see what it looks like. So let's put all my information in. There it is. We can fill out the rest of this information. And once we click Submit, you're going to see the form get replaced with that text that's in the confirmation. And there you go. Thanks for contacting us. We'll get back to you shortly. If you want to add additional information here, maybe your locations, maybe prompting someone to reach out to a person in your office if they don't hear back from you, or to provide any other second step information to your user, you would just add that to your confirmation. Some of our users out there, this will be a page instead. So you would, if you do see this option, it is clicked to a page, and there's a page selected, you would follow our instructions within our WordPress basic training webinar to go through and edit the page directly. So you can find that webinar directly in our Help Center if you have any questions on directly editing a page. Next area we're going to go to is the notifications. So in contrast with the confirmations, which is what the user gets once they complete the form, the notifications is going to be the email notification that a user gets within your company that someone has filled out this form. So we're going to jump over to it and click on it. So if you have any questions about who is receiving this form, or maybe someone has left or some responsibilities have changed in your company and you want to make sure that this gets updated, you can actually go directly into the form and you can update this. So let's drop my email address into this. We have send the email, put my email address in. Once I'm happy with it, I can go down and update notification. Because I know this is actually a very common question, as our clients want to make sure that this information is up to date, and they might not know who is getting the form submissions, say after a year or so after the site has been built. And a lot of times it's good to go through your form settings just to make sure that it is still meeting your company's goals as well. So after all this is done, last thing we want to show you with forms is seeing the entries. So if you're not receiving the messages for the form, maybe you're an administrator and someone else is receiving them, but you still want to see what is coming through on the form, you can do that by going to the entries section of your forms module in WordPress. So we're actually going to go over there right now, and we're even going to be able to see the entry that I just put in a few minutes ago. Or, hey, look at that, didn't work. Oh, we're into the wrong form, sorry about that. So we're actually going to go and pick up the right form here, which is this last one. And in a second it should pop up and we'll see all the information for the form submittals so far. And here we go. Here's this great information, and these are all the people that have come through here so far. You can either view the information or you can bulk action it. So say you want to receive the information from it, say someone else in your company is currently receiving the forms, but you also want to get them, or maybe you want to take a few of them as a recruiter and follow up with them, you can resend notifications, and you're even prompted to which one you want to resend. You can either resend them to the admin, which is the current person on it, or you can even go in and put your email address so that it will override the current email address in that admin notification. So this allows you to help pull out some of that information if you're looking to follow up with them directly, or just to get that information in your email box as well. An example of viewing one of those entries, like I said, hover over and click View. You will see all the information that the person put into it. You can add notes to it, as well as seeing when that person submitted. So you can help find out where they submitted from on their website, as well as when they submitted. So you can make sure that people are responding in a timely manner. So that's all the information on forms here. If you have any questions, please let me know. We can get to it at the end of the webinar. Otherwise, we're going to move into the menu section. So for editing the menus on your WordPress site, what we're referencing here is the top menu on your page. So this is how users navigate around your site. So if you're going to add a new page on your site, this is how you'd modify where that page is found on your navigation. A really great example of the different types of menus you have on your site. We're going to go to the employers page because you're going to see the main navigation at the top. And you also on your site may have something called a sub-page navigation, which is on the right-hand side. And you'll notice that it's telling you what page you're on. So as you navigate through your site, you're going to see that it's going to change where that appears. So we're actually going to go ahead right now. We're going to add a page to the employer section. We're going to see and then get it added to both the sub-page navigation and the main page navigation, just so that you can see exactly how this works. And like I said, this is a great way if you happen to add a specialization to your company, or maybe you happen to take one away, but you're maybe refocusing and want to remove that specialization from your site. This will help you remove it from your navigation on your own. So in order to get a new page added to your site, we're going to head over to the dashboard and we're going to go to the pages section. And let's see, for an employer section, we are going to add a specializations page. Click the Add New button at the top. And like I said earlier, if you are looking for information on editing and adding a page, we recommend going directly to the basic WordPress training webinar that we have available, because we have some really great in-depth information there for doing this. So real quick, we're going to add a specializations page. We're going to choose the parent as employers. And we're going to publish it. So it'll be done pretty quick. While this is going, we're actually going to jump over to where the menus are housed in the WordPress dashboard, which is under Appearance and Menus. So we'll go there right now. And just to confirm with everyone, the items have not been added to the menus here yet. So let's go and find it. We're already under the employers menu, but say you want to change it and add it to the main menu, you would use this drop down to select. The big difference here while you're going through is making sure you're on the right menu. As a quick rundown, you have your main menu, which is what we've covered already. You have usually a mobile menu, which controls mobile, and a mobile footer, which is on your, when you go to your mobile site and there's 4 or 5 icons at the bottom with icons that travel around with you on the site. This is how you'd modify that. And then you also have your sub-page menu, such as employers and job seekers. So for this first example, we're going to go to the main menu. We're going to make sure that we get it added there first, and then we'll go through all the subsequent menus to make sure they get added there as well. So it's asking us to remove this item. We're going to go in and add specializations. And when you add a new menu item, it'll always get added to the bottom. So look for it there. And it's just as easy as dragging and then making sure it's at the right level that you want it. So since this is a subpage, we want to make sure it lines up with testimonials. And let's even put it above testimonials, so that's a little bit higher in the order. Once we're all done, we're going to click Save. And we are also going to go over to the employer section and add it to the menu there as well. And like I said earlier, when you're going through this, when you're making edits to your desktop site, always make sure that you're also making those edits to your mobile site. Because if you happen just to neglect your your mobile site, your users that are on there, which can be as much as 40, 50, or even 60% of your traffic, will not be able to get to these pages. So once again, we're going to select the page we want. We're going to add it to the menu, and we'll be able to drag it up to the correct location. Now this can take a little bit of time, so my apologies as WordPress is adding this to the menus for us. There we go. Once we're all set, we're going to click Save. And the same process would be had on the mobile menu. So we'll do that real quick, and then we can go and actually confirm that all of our work has been done as expected. And we should be all set. So now we're going to go back to the front end of our site here, and we are going to refresh the page, and we should see our new option pop up. And there we go. And when we click on this option, we'll see it populate with our new page. So this is a great way to go through and add the content. Now there is one more use for adding a menu beyond just adding a page content. Say you want to have an off-site link that's on your page, on your website. Say it's an Apply Us link that goes off to your ATS, or it's a time card link so that your employees can go and put their time in on your site. To do that, all you need to do is click on Custom Links, add in the URL that you want, and then make sure you add the link text. It acts the same way as one of the other options. It'll populate at the bottom, and you'll be able to drag it to the appropriate location. So I don't see any questions that have come in so far, so I'd like to thank you for joining us today for this our very first advanced WordPress training webinar. If you have any suggestions for a future WordPress training webinar, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear them, and we'd like to make sure that we're getting the content out there that everyone wants to see. If you have any questions, please head over to our Help Center, which is helpme.haleymarketing.com. Once again, that's helpme.haleymarketing.com, and you can submit a support ticket or view our wealth of knowledge articles that are there. Thank you for joining us today, and have an excellent afternoon.